Hey friends, hope you're doing fine. Now today I'd like to show you how you can create rounded bar charts in Tableau using measure names and measure values. How? Let's figure that out. As you can see, I already opened my Tableau here and also opened the Superstore dataset because it's freely available and everybody can follow if he or she wants to do that. So let's explore how we can create those rounded bar charts. So to do this, we need some kind of dimension in the view. And let's say we use, if I go to the product here in this hierarchy, I'm using the subcategory. So if I drag this into the rows, I would see a unique list of my subcategories. So far, so good. Now let's actually maybe increase the size and go to entire view here so we can see all of them across the whole view. And next we need to add some numerical field into the columns to get our normal bar charts, right? So instead of using a single measure, I will go to my measure values and drag them all in combination into the columns. Drag and drop there. And then you see that we get bar charts in here. But the bar charts actually include now all the measure values, as you can see here. This is of course not what we want, but this is basically the basic setup. Now, in order to create those rounded bar charts on top and at the bottom, so basically we want to have the rounding at the beginning and the end of the chart. That's why we cannot simply use a dual axis, because a dual axis would only give us the option to add, for instance, lollipops or a bubble on top, which allows us to create rounded bar charts if we want to have them on one side. But in our case, we want to have them on both sides. So to do this, we will do the following. We will double click inside the measure values container and then simply add a dummy measure. So for instance, the sum of 0. Let me press enter to create the ad hoc calculation. Now we're good to go. And you see that now the charts might have changed a little bit. So you can see the lines in between, but that's fine. Now, the last thing to do here is at first decide what kind of measure do we want to display. And let's say I'm interested in the sales numbers. So this means I can remove all the other measures. I hold my shift key and select everything beside the sales and my supporting sum 0, ad hoc calculation. I get rid of it. I simply drag this out, drop it there, and now we see we got our original bar charts again, which in this case only contains the sales numbers. Next, we need to actually modify the chart, because instead of having the bars, we will do the following. We will change this to a line. So tick on line, like that. And now this looks kind of weird, because what happens is basically you still have all the measures, but the measures here, so the values itself, are actually now combined, because measure names is currently on detail. So you can see all the zeros for the sum 0 combined, and you can see all the sales numbers combined for each of the subcategories. So we want to change this and simply add the measure names into the path shelf. Because this means, if I do that, let me show it to you, that now we simply combine the measures. So the line is now between the measures and not from the same measure from dot to dot. And next, we can now simply increase the size. So we can go to the size shelf here and simply increase the size and make it as big as you want. So if I drag this up, you see that now the form changes, maybe like that. That's the biggest size currently. And then of course, finally, I like to sort it. So I can either go to the sorting options in the ribbon bar and sort it descending if I want to do that. And then I can see here the sales now descended sorting, but now with rounding edges for both sides of the visual. Maybe we go back to the size and make it a little bit smaller, so maybe that looks better, at least to me. Finally, of course, we could also add some color to it if we want to do that. It is not required, and also because we only show one measure and we already see it sorted, and this is from the top to the bottom, that means we do not need to add additional coloring if we don't want to do that. It might also lead to distraction, but let me still do it just to see whether that looks better or not. So to do this, let's also drag the sales into the color. So I hold my control key, I drag it onto color, drag and drop it here. So let me drag and drop it here. Here we go. And now you can see we also got this colored from the darker blue to the lighter blue. Of course, we can go to the coloring option here, edit colors, and change it to a different kinds of color palette if you want to do that. But for me, that's fine for now. Okay. So that's it actually for this trick to creating rounding edges for the bar charts on both sides. Of course, now you can continue formatting this, for instance, changing the tooltips and add additional information, or maybe you want to choose a different dimension to visualize that, or you want to also maybe add some labels to it. It's up to you. But that's basically the trick. Hopefully that was helpful, and I encourage you to try this out yourself and maybe enhance your specific dashboards and reports a little bit further. Okay? So thanks a lot for watching. In case you have not done so far, please consider subscribing, because if you do, then I will create, of course, more videos for you. And also, if you have specific requests, feel free to ask. Otherwise, please stay healthy and hopefully see you in the next video. Until then, best guys.